What up, Internet? Madison here, the one and only big Brandon Carter.
What up, what up?
What up, what up? You love him, you know him. And we're here in Las Vegas for the Bellagio Fountain. My favorite place, actually from, what's it, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13?
Yeah, one of them.
All of them, you know.
Yeah.
Usually, but this is like the fly Brad Pitt and George Clooney. This is the black version here.
Which one are you?
I always wanted to be George Clooney. But I like how Brad Pitt is always eating every scene. I thought he was cool.
I'm always eating.
You are always eating.
But I always saw myself as a George Clooney. Maybe we'll fight over it. All right, no. All right,
really
you be
loud.
George Clooney.
That was really loud. All right, so I got a product coming out called Boss, and I thought Boss, and I thought it made sense to talk to Brandon because Brandon is one of these guys that I really appreciate. Far beyond like his sense of humor and everything else, I think he's just one of these guys that you don't realize how much of a challenge it must have been for him to take himself from where he was at in his life and man the fuck up and just man himself up and get himself to the level he wanted to be. Career, business, focusing on things like late night hours working. They say that Drake song says, "Bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym." I can imagine all the hours he spent in the workplace gym doing hardcore exercises, like training yourself and focusing on business and reading books. And that shit impresses me. And I think, I just wanted you to talk a little bit about that. The idea of manning the fuck up to get shit done. How hard was it for you? And just just maybe tell a couple stories and we'll just bounce back and forth and rap about that a bit.
Yeah, I will. The time I had to man up for real was really when my father killed himself. I got a text from my sister and I had to run to Chicago. She said they found a suicide note and they couldn't find Dad. And I flew to Chicago to see my mom, and the cops knocked on the door and asked us to sit down. And they were like, "Oh shit," they said, we found your dad and bullet in the head. And I was like, "Oh fuck," I think up until then I was kind of fucking around a little bit because I feel like, oh man, whatever happens, my dad, not like he would take care of me because I didn't come for a lot of money, but I just feel like he had my back, more of someone who had my back in my corner, right? And he didn't. And he was the kind of guy who took care of the whole family, just really the man of the family, and now I have to be that. So I guess it comes from that, man. That's when it started, when I just felt like people started depending on me for shit and looking at me for support, or financially, or mentally, emotionally, the people I loved. I became the guy instead of one of the people who was looking for that from someone else. And it just everything kind of changed from that moment, and now I'm hypersensitive to money, right? Because if he had enough money, he wouldn't have did what he did. I don't want to get into why he did it, but it was that kind of thing. So now I'm just like, shit, man, I kind of understand how important it is to be financially secure, not from a greedy perspective, I got to have it, but I got to be able to take care of myself, my family, my employees, and they need to be able to take care of their family. And it's important. It's an important thing to success is important. It ain't no shit. You don't fuck around with success or play with it, because if you're casual about life, you become a casualty. That's what Les Brown said, and I think that you can't be casual about this shit, man. Success, everybody ain't gonna be successful, man. Most of these people suck.
Yeah.
Most of these people suck. The only reason they're able to live a decent life is because they live in America, and our infrastructure is set up in a way where it's kind of hard to fail. But if you put them in some shit country, they'd be fucking living poor like everyone else, right? It takes a different kind of person to take it to the next level. And that's kind of what I try to teach my guys, the guys who watch my shit, to be that kind of guy who's going to take their lives to the next level, not just settle, and really go hard and be serious about this shit. And that's why I'm excited about your product, because it sounds like you're guiding people down that same path.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
I've heard you tell the story before about your dad before, and I can't even imagine what kind of a guy he was, what kind of situation you guys had, because to see how you turned out, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder how he was with Brandon and stuff. But I've heard you tell the story a lot, and I wonder now when you tell the story, is it still does it still take you back to that first day? Or when you tell the story now, is it almost like you're telling a story of your life? I know me personally, right? I tell a story for pickup stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, when I was in 5th grade, this happened. And I tell it's a story, but it's almost like in another lifetime. Yeah. I almost feel like I'm playing a parody of myself. When you tell those stories now, is it as if it just happened yesterday, it's so fresh in your mind, and that drives you. I'm trying to figure out how it motivates you or how it drives you and how it shapes you even today.
Yeah, man. When I tell the story, it's more like it just kind of looking back. I remember those feelings, but it doesn't resonate with me now. It just going forward. I only kind of think about it when I tell I'm in a situation where it makes sense to tell the story. But what was the question?
It was it's like all this kind of motivated you to now make this business, right?
Yeah.
Your business you have going on. You got the Fighter Fuel coffee. You got the Bro Labs. You got the Rebellion pre-workout. You got all these things you're doing. You got these products and programs. It's like, okay.
And other stuff that they don't talk about. Like that's not like applicable to the audience on social media. Right. Like I go pretty hard. Man.
So you go hard everything. You taught yourself affiliate marketing, copywriting, sales. It's like for somebody to even boss up that much, to man up that much, like you had a motivation to do it. But how did you just decide to get so fucking deep in it and so serious with it? Like serious. Like I got good at game because I would stay up like literally like to 6 o'clock in the morning analyzing what I did and go out and do it again. Like do my 12 hours, 14 hours of hustle. And I was motivated, but I think maybe I was even driven by a little bit of pain. But
pain's a big motivator. Yeah.
So it was pain that motivated you kind of to work so hard.
Yeah,
like you work hard on yourself. Like you work hard. Why did you decide to boss up so much?
So I come from South Side of Chicago, and this is kind of like poverty, the black ghetto, and it's just normal there. Like everybody's just like being poor or like normal, and nobody really expects to get out. It's kind of like feels kind of hopeless. And I got sent away to military school, and I was like the only poor kid there. There was like I was there on some sort of scholarship shit, And I had a roommate at the time, and he was rich. Like a lot of these kids had a lot of money because it cost like the normal tuition was $20 grand a year.
And you were on a fitness
high
scholarship?
school? No, just like some like affirmative action or some shit. They need some more niggas, right? And because I was the only black kid in my whole senior class, so I guess they can't have all white school or something. So they said, this guy. And I was in there, and what happened is I got some exposure to some different things, man. Like, so I had a roommate who was rich. I mean, I went home to his house once, and he had fucking horses. Horses. Like he owns horses, and
not whores.
Horses. Like the animals, Clydesdales and shit. And that just blew my mind. And he had lived in a mansion, and I was like, whoa, this shit is real. It's not just TV, huh? It's not just TV. And then I actually had another friend. He lives out here now, and I don't want to say his name, but you can Google it. His dad owned the Crazy Horse 2 strip club. Not anymore, but he was the owner. And I went with him to Vegas once, man. Like, this is like in high school. And he was like the king of Vegas, man. He got us in the fucking clubs and shit. And I'm like, yo, I couldn't believe that it's so different than so then I would go, then summer would come, and I go back to the fucking ghetto and have to be there. And I just saw the contrast, and that was a big motivation for me. And then so I was still kind of like going after like trying to achieve more. I decided, maybe I should go to college, right? And I went to college, but it really was my dad that like lit a fire under me, because now I'm scared of not having enough money now. Like it's a fear, like a legit fear, and it's not from like a greedy perspective. It's just, man, money's like air. I think like you really you take it for granted until you're suffocating, right? Like if I put a mask over your face or somebody choked you, then you're like, oh shit, this air thing is important. But you might take it for granted if you got enough. Yeah. Well, I come from not having enough, man. So like, I know what it's like to fucking suffocate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny. I've heard. I did an interview with Nick the other day, Nick from RSD, and we were talking about money, and this old parable, right? People say money is the root of all evil. Actually, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. Yeah. But I've seen people that had no money and they did some evil shit. Because when you're hungry, when you don't have money, you do some stuff to kind of get by, right? You do some stuff that maybe you find questionable later on in your life, but in that moment you had to do it because you just wanted to get by. Yeah. And it can really go both ways. The times in my life I've done stuff that probably I wasn't the best was when I was like down, like really down. I had a collector, like a bill collector coming after me, or I had like a bailiff or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, like let me just deal with the situation. And I did some stuff that back in the day, man, I even dated a girl who I would say was close to a millionaire, and she was crazy, absolutely crazy, like police and stuff. But I did it just because I was like, oh, she can help me with my financial situation. And that was a horrible thing to do. And that getting in a relationship with that girl haunted me for years, the repercussions of that relationship. And so I could see like money being a motivation. For me, you mentioned your dad. For me, it was I grew up in a single parent household without a dad. So I always kind of had like this resentment that there was no man in the house. And I was like, I never want to grow up and be like that man that left. I had an anger at him. I was like, how could he call himself a man? He just left us. He just deserted us. What is he doing? Is he like off somewhere with some girl now? Like, how did he just do that to us? I'm like angry at this guy, right? So I use that as my motivation. I'm like, okay, I never want to be like him. I want to have some sort of integrity. I want to have some sort of like moral code that guides my decisions. I want to have some sort of way I walk through the world, stuff like that. And that was the way that I kind of like based everything that I wanted to do. Even in the product I'm working on, Boss, is about those core character traits and how they can apply to business and relationships and dating. And I thought that a lot of guys just never really go through that phase. Call it the searching phase, call it, as horrible as your situation was, it might even been a rite of passage in a way for you, a part of your life where you went through it and then it changed you and you came out different. I think a lot of guys in our society don't have that rite of passage anymore. You mentioned like music, when you had the music thing, and the music thing went up and it didn't work out exactly how you wanted it to. That was also an experience where you have to kind of like refine yourself again and figure, like not reinvent yourself, but refigure what is your purposes, what are your reasons for doing it, and they mold you. I feel like every bad thing that happened to you, you kind of made lemonade out of it, man.
I try, man. I do. I appreciate that. I try. The music thing is a cool reminder, man, because like, man, I felt okay. I always thought I'd be a professional musician in some capacity. Like I played drums since I was a kid. I played guitar, keyboard. If you search Brandon Carter acoustic cover on YouTube,
I have.
I'm fucking nice. Like,
I see you. But the hat on, and the undershirt, the white beater on. Yeah, I see that.
But the fact that, like, I honestly think I was really good, and I still failed. So that means being good's not fucking good enough. Just because you're fucking good doesn't mean you'll be successful.
Right.
And that was like a realization. So it was like, you can be just because you can be good, you still gotta fucking go for it. You can be the biggest, the greatest fucking pickup artist in the world, but if you're not out fucking doing it, it doesn't matter, right? Like or you can be the greatest fucking anything, and there's some guy there's a guy somewhere in the world who's the best guitarist you'll ever hear of. But he's in this fucking room, he's not going for his, or something like that. So that's a good reminder, man, because it's like, man, I was fucking incredible.
I feel like you're decisive though. You're decisive. Everything you've done, you decided. You're like, you cut off every opportunity of not doing that thing. You're like, this is the new thing. This is the new swag. And you're so decisive in what you're doing. And you apply all your power in it 100% with conviction. And like, that's why, not why it always works, because, it worked. But it could not have worked.
It definitely could have worked.
There's people that decide they want to be dancers. And they quit and they go to like a ballet school and they're like, I'm ballet now. Fuck my job. Fuck paying rent. Whatever. I'm a ballet and ballet's gonna like solve my life, and it doesn't work out. So why did it work out for you? You ever think about that? Like actually, like
I think
Chicago.
No, I'm saying I think a lot of shit did fail though. You know what I'm saying? Like you keep going until you hit something. I think you ain't going to win every time. I don't give a fuck how good you are or how much you believe or how many affirmations you do or how many times you write this shit down or how much shit you got on your vision board. You're going to fail sometimes.
But you made it.
Yeah, I just accepted that, and I went through the failures, and I'll probably still fail some more. I still fail some more. I still make mistakes. Like I still make mistakes. I still fuck up. But we go so hard that it looks like we're just always succeeding,
You got
but
right
we
action
feel a
momentum.
lot.
It's like right action taking momentum.
Exactly.
You're taking so much right action. I don't even know if that's what it's called. I'm just making this shit up right now.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It sounds like about right with the words. Like, it takes so much right action, doing the things the best way you can. It eventually works out. Like he was telling me a little earlier on before the cameras turned on. I'm like, man, how do you get all these crazy ideas for your Snapchat? Like, you got these good ideas. He's like, I make this list. This Brian Tracy list of 20 things. Making a list of 20 things, even though it's not easy, over and over again, you force your brain muscle to do it. You force your brain to constantly think in the vein of right action. You condition your neural pathways and whatever. And that's huge. Yeah. That's huge. We were up last night, me and my guys, we were up to like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, brainstorming ideas for videos, but we didn't make a list of 20.
Yo, make a list of 20.
We should make a list of 20 for every single person.
Yo, we do this shit all the time. Sometimes it's kind of cool when you do the list of 20 thing with multiple people because your ideas bounce off each other.
Yeah.
But doing it on your own, what it does is it so to give you context, what he asked me about like some of the ideas I came up with, how you came. Every day I kind of ask myself a question. All right, what'd be a cool way to do this, or what's some good idea? And I make myself come up with 20 ideas. I don't stop till I get to 20. And the last 10 are so fucking hard.
Yeah.
But it forces you to think outside of what you. The first 10 are some shit that any asshole would have thought of.
Yeah.
But it forces you to think of like 10 creative ideas, like legit creative. And creativity, man, is just a talent. Like it's not even a talent. Creativity is just something you can get better at. So it forces you to do that, and then you get to the point where you're just coming up with good ideas all the time, man, because you've trained yourself. And I probably learned that when I was in college, man. Like I didn't do it every day since college, but we do it. I try to do it every day, man.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. I'm gonna say something a little trippy here, kind of add to this. A thought I had last night. It might be able to fit in, maybe it won't. But so on the way over here on this trip, I was like, you know what? Creativity is all around us. I just gotta like accept the creativity, just like embrace it a little bit more. So I said for the whole trip, I'm not calling myself I, because the word I has too much ego. I'm like, for the whole trip, just Madison. What's the work that Madison's doing? What's the work we want to accomplish? Because I just want to identify with the work. I don't want to think about myself in it. I don't want to think about, we got 5 guys here shooting. I don't want to think about how do I look. Like, I'm just thinking about what is the work? What is the message you want to put across? What do you want to convey? How do you want to reach people? And if I focus on that, I know at the end of the day, we'll be successful. You can't work the success, just work on the right actions, the right things. I feel like it comes along. So even creativity, right? It's like, I'm so happy that, wow, that's crazy. Wow, I like that. Even in creativity, it's like, I feel like the best times I'm creative are when I can step outside myself and just take more actions, the right actions, and stop thinking about myself so much. Stop worrying about myself so much, and stop worrying about like how good of a job am I doing, what people are going to think of me, etc. I just focus on who do we want to reach, what do we want to do, who do we want to convey, who do we want to convey to them, and taking the things that we know that work, the right small steps, small little steps. I really like that thing you said, man, because that Brian Tracy thing, it's something that I've known about. I've read the book, I have processed it, but I just have to go back to it, which goes to my habit of, I read the same 20 books every year or two. I go back to the same ones. I don't even read new books that often because I just need to master the ones that I got.
That's a good practice.
You read a lot of the same ones, or you read a lot of different ones?
I have some books that I read over and over again. And I have some that but I'm always reading new books. I read more new books than I do read, but it's just few that I come back to all the time. There's an audio book that I listen to probably, I don't know, man. I listen to probably once, sometimes twice a week. But
really,
I go through multiple audiobooks a week.
Right.
Because in addition to the reading, just because I'm fucking geek, right? But yeah, this Relentless by Tim Grover. Like
I've heard of that.
If you never, the audiobook's better than the book because the guy who reads it sounds pretty cool. But yeah, that's one of the I go over and over again. But yeah, I don't even know how we got here, but that's cool. But manning up, like just being serious. There's a difference between being interested and being serious. I think that you asked me, how do you push yourself so much? It's a difference between being interested and being fucking committed, So sometimes some people fail. I think that's part of it. The difference between commitment and so like I made a failed at music, but that wasn't the goal, man. Music wasn't the goal. Success was the goal. Music was the route. Or like, so this. So like, I never changed the goal, just the route. Does that make sense?
You were committed.
So yeah, so I was committed. So all right, this road didn't work. This road didn't work. I didn't give up on the fucking goal.
Right.
I just kept going. I just changed the route.
I feel you, man. I like that. That's swag. That's your lyricism coming out. I didn't change the goal. I just changed the route.
Change the route.
You know what I'm saying? I like that. Actually, I'll end it off with a quick story. So back in the day, this is my music story. Back in the day, I used to be a music producer.
Yeah.
I produced for a lot of artists in Canada, like a couple in the States. I did some stuff for some of like Eminem's guys and his crew. And then at one point, I wanted to go produce for the rapper Common. Okay.
From Chicago, from my neighborhood.
Chicago, Shot City, and then Shot Town actually. Yeah. And then I met him, and I went backstage with this manager, and it was back in the day we had CD players. CD player dies. The manager gets me batteries from a flashlight to put into the CD player, and then he starts rapping to it. Common's rapping a little fast. I tell him to slow down his rhythm a little bit. I show him how to do it, how to pace the cadence on it.
Oh, yeah, you teach Common how to rap. All right,
that's good. True story. True story. And then he likes it, and he's like, you know what? Send me some stuff, and here's my person at my label. Here's the stuff. Let's do some submissions. I'm working on an album. So I go down to New York, and it doesn't work out for me. Okay, it doesn't work out. I can't get it because people aren't returning my calls when I get down there. I'm kind of getting the run around or whatever, you know. And you know, I'm sure it's part of the business. Everybody goes through that. I don't know if he was serious or not. I don't know. Yeah. The kid that beat me was this kid who was kind of unknown at the time, and his name was Kanye West.
Oh, damn.
So I lost out in the rap game to Kanye. Right?
Well, you got to get beat, you know, by somebody.
I had a good beat. It was. You know, to be perfectly fair, he probably applied himself more up into that date than I had up into that date, right? He had just had more momentum going to that area. But that really resonated with me because the story resonates with me because I tried so hard to just, my goal in music is I wanted to express myself. I wanted to get myself out there. I wanted to share with the world, make the world a better place, whatever. And I didn't get to do it through music. But now here we are. We're in fucking Vegas, man.
We out here.
Right? We're here in Vegas and we're shooting a video with our ideas and our thoughts. How fucking lucky are we to be able to do that and get paid for it? That's crazy.
I think fortunate, but not lucky.
Why you gonna downplay it, man?
I don't like lucky.
Fortunate.
But not lucky.
Luck, when they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Yeah. So would you consider that? That can be lucky too, right? Or, the words doesn't matter. The point, choose whatever words you want. You said something about words. The point of what I'm saying is we still arrived at the goal. We figured out a different route and still arrived at the goal. So the point is for you, be flexible. You know, last thing I'll say is be flexible with the route you're taking. As long as you have your mission and your ideas and you're committed, as Brandon said, committed to the actual result or the destination, then hey, you know what? Be open to it. Be open to the creativity of the universe, and then, you know, it'll find a way for you, hopefully. But you still gotta apply yourself. None of this like, oh, the universe will find a way. It'll work itself. No, fuck that. You gotta still do it yourself. You still gotta apply yourself. You still gotta be logical, solve problems, manage your own emotions, shit like that. You know. So, anyways, that's it for now. Any final words?
No, man. I think you crushed it just now, man. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you taking time out and let me talk on your shit, man.
Thank you, man. And actually, we did a video before, and it got mashed up in New York by the airport security and stuff. So hopefully this one comes out and you guys enjoy it. Boss is coming up. Check out Brandon's stuff. What's your YouTube?
My YouTube, a High Life Workout, or you just type my name in the internet, man. Something cool to come up.
Yep. Brandon Carter. That's the government, first and last. You heard it here. Keep in touch.